After thousands, what felt like thousands of interviews later, the Philadelphia Eagles have finally found their next head coach. We'll talk about their pick and get some player reactions coming up next.
We worked for three years together in San Diego. It didn't take me long during that tenure there that I thought if I ever had this opportunity, he would be the guy I would want to be my coordinator. He's extremely intelligent. He's very energetic, very passionate about ball. He's a great teacher, very systematic in his thinking, and just the way we see the passing game and the way we think about offensive football, very similar, and very excited about having that we could get Nick out and be here with us.
Welcome, everybody, to another episode of the Eagles News Now podcast. I'm professional wrestler Chris Wilde, live from bar 4133, and the search is finally over after what felt like forever and a million Zoom interviews. I was even expecting one from Jeffrey Lurie at one point. The Philadelphia Eagles have hired their next head coach, and it's not the guy or guys who we might have thought it would be. I mean, I have notes ready to put a positive spin on the Eagles hiring Josh McDaniels. Thankfully, I don't have to do that. And then fan favorite Deuce Staley was also a guy who I thought could be the Eagles' next head coach. I actually expected them to hire him tomorrow, with tomorrow being the 22nd. 22, Deuce, his number, you guys get it. But that will not be happening, as Nick Sirianni had an interview Tuesday that went into Wednesday, and apparently he absolutely wowed the Eagles. Jeffrey Lurie and John Dorsey. Howie Roseman, I heard, wanted Josh McDaniels, which makes me like this hire even more. Look, I don't see anything negative about them hiring Nick Sirianni. Again, I don't know much about the guy. Just a couple weeks ago, I knew his name when I was watching the Colts playoff game. If you would have asked me before then or held a gun to my head, I would have been dead, because I wouldn't have been able to tell you who the Colts offensive coordinator was. We all know that their head coach was Frank Reich, who in 2018, when he got to be head coach, one of the first things he did was hire Nick Sirianni as his offensive coordinator. So let's get right into Sirianni's coaching career. Let's bring out the good old Wildtron 3000 to do that. And Nick Sirianni starts in Kansas City with Todd Haley as the offensive quality control coach. Romeo Crennel takes over for Todd Haley and keeps Sirianni on as the wide receivers coach. That is a promotion. He goes to San Diego after that with Mike McCoy, and that's in 2013. In 14, he becomes a quarterbacks coach, and then their wide receivers coach in 2016, spending 2 years in that position. He gets hired, as we talked about, by the Indianapolis Colts in 2018. Frank Reich was with the San Diego Chargers. They have that relationship, and look, the Indianapolis Colts offense has been successful under Frank Reich, and Nick Sirianni, according to reports, had a big part of that as he helped design plays, and obviously coach these players into the positions that they were. Jonathan Taylor, had a great rookie season. The Frank Reich-led offense loved to run the ball. And look, when Frank was here in 2017, we had a great running game with LeGarrette Blount, Jay Ajayi, and even Corey Clement. So this is something that we can all look forward to. Now their scheme is very familiar to ours. Again, Sirianni didn't call plays, so who knows what this offense might look like. I do like this hire. One of the reasons why is because it kind of goes to the trend that the NFL is with young coaches, young offensive minds. I mean, guys like Sean McVay, who was 30 years old, he's now 34 when he was hired by the Rams, has been very successful. Matt LaFleur with the Green Bay Packers, who's 41 years old. These are all great offensive minds. This fits that mold. Look, a lot of players, the player reactions today, as I'll pop up some tweets, have all been pretty positive. Again, with Jonathan Taylor backing up this hire, saying it was legit. Eagles leader Lane Johnson seems to be on board, as well as rising star Alex Singleton. Again, I know some players are probably disappointed that it wasn't Deuce, as Deuce is familiar with the team and is very popular in that locker room. But I do think that this is a positive for the Eagles. And a lot of people saying this is a guy that they can control and isn't going to challenge them on personnel decisions. Again, I don't know how you can say that when we don't know this guy. We don't know what he's like. We've seen YouTube videos and clips of him being very passionate and seeming like a player, like he's a player's coach. but we have no idea what he may be like to management. I know that John Dorsey, at least, again, this are just things I hear, John Dorsey was on board with this hire more than Howie Roseman that wanted Josh McDaniels, which makes me like this hire even more. We'll keep you posted on the John Dorsey, Howie Roseman situation, as I got a take on that too. But look, this guy, he seems like a good fit. He seems like a good hire. Again, Jeffrey Lurie loves offense. He's hired, except for Ray Rhodes, has hired all offensive coaches. And that's another thing. Look, we talk about the player personnel. We talk about Eagles drafting. They have not been successful with most of their drafts. Howie Roseman's been horrible. But the one thing that Jeffrey Lurie seems to do very well is hire good head coaches. Andy Reid, again, Andy Reid was a guy nobody knew about. Andy Reid's a guy that wasn't calling plays. Doug Peterson won a Super Bowl, wasn't calling plays in Kansas City. These are two of the best hires probably that Jeffrey Lurie ever had. But, you look back to Chip Kelly. Before he let Chip Kelly run amok in the front office, Chip Kelly was a decent head coach with 2 10-win seasons. So I can't say that was a bad hire as a coach. Now, as a GM, that was absolutely horrible. We all know that. But, again, a lot of the guys Chip drafted were part of that Super Bowl team. So everything is up for debate. But I definitely trust Jeffrey Lurie in hiring coaches more than anything else that he's probably done, which, again, makes me feel good about this. A lot of the feedback that I've been seeing has been positive with people that know this head coach, or now head coach, but that knew him from Indianapolis and other places. And I'm excited as it's a fresh start for the Eagles. So, again, a young, offensive-minded head coach. Now, his staff means just as much as his hire, in my opinion. Who's going to be his defensive coordinator? Who's going to be his offensive coordinator? It looks like Dave Flip is probably going to stay as special teams coach. I don't know how much I like that. Will Deuce Staley stay a part of this staff, or will he go somewhere else? The drama is not over with yet. Now, I will tell you this, and I'm going to dig deeper into who his staff could be in the coming days, but I know that Jonathan Gannon from Indianapolis, he was defensive backs coach, was actually one of the guys that they thought might get a head coaching spot. He has been interviewed by the Chargers for their defensive coordinator position, and I hear he's on Atlanta's radar as well as Chicago's. I could be wrong on that. If I am, please let me know in the comments. But I'm down. I'm down with him, as Indianapolis had a really good defense this year. And I'm just, guys, I want, again, here on the show, I try to do more positive, optimistic takes than anything. Because, look, being negative, I mean, we see it every day anyway. We live in a negative society, most likely. It just doesn't do me any good to go through all the negatives, because there are some negatives of having an unknown as your head coach. But I look at guys like Sean McVay. I look at guys like Matt LaFleur. And, again, when they're hired by their teams, like Sean McVay didn't call plays before he was a head coach. Matt LaFleur only called plays a year before with the Titans, and they were ranked 27th in offense that year. Obviously, they dealt with some injuries, but I'm sure those fan bases could have had negative takes on that as well. So again, and we can go back to the history of Dougie and the negativity that was around when Doug Peterson was hired. I was not one of them. So being negative it doesn't make sense in this kind of situation. But there will be more on this hire in the coming days. The Eagles do not make things boring, no matter what. Everything's going to be interesting when it comes to the Philadelphia Eagles and who this next coach and his staff is going to be. But yeah, I'm definitely excited for what's to come. Thanks for watching, guys. Again, out of nowhere, the Eagles hire Nick Sirianni, offensive coordinator from the Indianapolis Colts, as our next head coach. I'll be back with more in the coming days. Thanks for watching, guys. If this is your first time watching, you like what you see, please hit that subscribe button. Also share. You guys know the entire deal. Stay safe. Stay healthy. As always, F the haters. Go Birds, and I'll see you later.
Nick Sirianni, offensive coordinator, Indianapolis Colts. DMX concert in Buffalo. Yeah.
E-A-G-L-E-S Eagles! E-A-G-L-E-S Eagles!
I need Eagle Nation to stand.